What's going on there, YouTube? This is Quinn, that snazzy iPhone guy, and this is the video review of the Bump portable wireless speaker from Aluratek. Now, Aluratek is a company that actually has a pretty impressive product portfolio. They're based out of California, and they have a bunch of different really kind of bizarre products. They have like tablets and e-readers and speakers and really everything. So I was pretty excited to get this portable wireless speaker. It's going to retail you $79.99, which for portable wireless speakers is pretty well in line with the competition. It's not a great deal, but it's not a deal breaker either. You know, it's relatively moderately priced. What you're going to get in the box, of course, is the speaker itself, which we'll get to, a USB transmitting stick to use the wireless connectivity. You'll find a wall charger, which just goes to mini USB, which is how the device is charged. So you get one of these. You also get a mini USB to USB cable, so you can charge it through your computer if you so choose. That's a nice feature. And then you're going to get a male-to-male 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. The reason this is handy is the Bump also has a audio in. So you could use this to go into your speaker and then this to go into your iPod or Zune or whatever. You can choose the song on here and you can go through here for wired connectivity. So if you don't have your laptop to do the wireless, you can do it through here. Now, let's get into the product itself. Other than that, though, I forgot, you'll get like warranty and registration cards. Your typical documentation you find in boxes. So we have the speaker itself and the wireless transmitting stick. Now, the reason this is wireless and not wireless is because it uses 2.4 gigahertz signal, which is good. It doesn't use Bluetooth. The reason Bluetooth is bad is because it compresses the audio signal quite drastically. So even though you can connect to more devices, such as your iPhone, your iPod, your iPad, what have you, the problem with it is the output quality isn't that great. So if you have a good speaker, you don't want to be going out to Bluetooth because it just sounds kind of mediocre. Now, the good thing about this is it is 2.4 gigahertz. It's not Bluetooth. It's a very high quality output. The question is this able to make use of the high quality output it's receiving? So the actual stick I don't think is Aluratek branded. I think they just got it to work with this device because there are channel buttons on here and they do absolutely nothing. So there's nothing in documentation about them. I just think that they used a generic third-party transmitter, and that's why this doesn't do anything. But you plug this into your computer via the USB stick, and I'll show you how to do this now so you can get audio wirelessly from here to here. You plug it into your MacBook Pro, and here's my first issue with it already. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but if you take a gander there, that USB stick it's not the skinniest one you've ever seen. And in fact, it's thick enough that it blocks the other USB port. On a lot of Macs, on a lot of laptops, you know, it blocks this port, and I went from 2 USB ports to 1. I wish this wasn't fat. It was a big deal breaker for me because I went from being able to connect my iPhone or my iPod or whatever on the go to just this. And of course, if you have a USB hub, that's a different story, but then you're usually in your home and you'll be using high quality speakers anyway, not a portable one. So this was kind of a bummer to see, and I wish they had made this a little bit smaller. How do you enable the wireless speaker, you may be asking? Well, all you have to do is go into your system preferences. There's no drivers required. It just shows up as a generic audio device. So this is how you do it on the Mac and the Windows. It'll pop up in the bottom and say, hey, we've detected a new audio device, and you can output to that. But of course, we have our internal speakers. If we were to plug in, a speaker or a headphone via the headphone port, you would get your headphone out. And this is the Cynic wireless audio stick. So you don't need any software, you don't need any drivers. You just plug this bad boy in and it will work with Windows and PC. Boom. So that's nice to see. That's already off to a good start. Now, if we open iTunes, if we get ready to listen to our actual music, we'll start playing our favorite royalty-free stuff. Oh, gotta love it. Okay, so what we're going to do first here is kind of give you a little demo of the speaker. You have the Bump logo, you have 2 tweeters on the side, and then a sub on the bottom. So a three-way speaker is pretty nice to see. It's a bit heftier than your X Mini or your X Mini Pro even, because you do get, you do get a larger speaker because you get good playback. It has a rechargeable lithium-ion battery, which can play up to about 10 hours. I've done about 3 cycles on the battery, and that's pretty good so far. And you have the tweeters on the side. Now, if you click the power button there, you have to hold it a little bit, it'll turn on and your wireless transmitter connects. You'll notice that because this goes from a flashing dot to a blue one, but you can already see that it's on. You can turn the volume up, and this is where the volume is controlled. It gets loud, really loud. And it has left and right, so it's stereo. It's not mono audio, which is nice to see. The problem is, it sounds like garbage. I was really hoping for good quality out of this, and I just did not get it. In piano ballads, in stuff like this, it sounds good, but that's because there's no bass, nothing at all. It's just one part, there's no vocals, it doesn't have to separate anything, so it sounds pretty good. The problem is, when you have anything more than one part, you add drums, you add bass, you add vocals, you add anything, it starts to get really, really muddy. Despite its stereo capabilities, it sounds worse than the regular X Mini, the $30 X Mini, which you can find for about $20, maybe even $15 on Amazon. And it really goes from a pretty cool little speaker to just kind of a mediocre piece of junk. And I mean that in the sweetest way possible, because it's very well built. And the product itself is held up by a good company. It has a 1-year warranty. It has a rechargeable battery. It has a lot of features that a lot of these portable wireless speakers don't. But the issue is it doesn't sound good. In any other genre rather than unplugged or acoustic, it got really, really muddy. The low end lagged like crazy. And of course you can modify the EQ, and I did so in iTunes, and it sounded a little bit better, but not that great. And since it uses a lithium-ion battery instead of a lithium polymer, it kind of goes on a downward slope. So it'll start out sounding pretty good. It's not great, but it's decent. And after about 5 hours, it doesn't sound that good. And after about 8 hours, it sounds bad. So rather than stay constant and then the battery drops off, it's kind of like a downward slope. And the more you listen, the worse the audio gets, which is really disappointing. This speaker had, I was pretty excited for this. I had high expectations. I'd read good reviews. I'd seen good reviews on YouTube. But when I got the product in my hand, it just didn't hit my marks. And it doesn't sound good at all. The mids are muddy. The bass is muddy. The trebles are too sharp. They're not distinct enough to, stick out. They're just like a tonular pitch, which really is sad. You pay $80 and you should at least expect a decent sound, but you don't get it. You get a good build, you get a good everything else, but the sound doesn't hit. And it comes down to sound. That's really where we're at. If you're going to use this 2.4 GHz stick to transport a high quality out, you want a high quality out coming out of this. They should have used Bluetooth and enabled you to wirelessly Bluetooth your stuff via your iPhone and your iPod. Right here, the wireless is only wireless if you have a computer. So you're really limited in the actual use of it. The sound isn't good, and so all in all, I have to give it a 3 out of 10. I'm going to dock 5 right off the bat because, it doesn't sound good. In a speaker that's $80, you expect decent sound, and you don't get that. The USB stick is too big. It blocks the port. That's another dock. The other reason I docked off, another point, taking it down to a 3, is there's no Bluetooth. This really doesn't put out a good enough sound to use anything other than Bluetooth, and the fact that it uses this 2.4 GHz stick is kind of a bummer, because then you're limited to your computer. You don't have capabilities in other departments, and for that reason, I can't really give it a good review. Sorry, Aluratek. Sorry, Bump Wireless. You just didn't really hit my mark. 3 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, rate, comment, and as always, stay snazzy. See you later, folks.